Welcome back. I'm Susan.
And I'm Laura.
This is our 4th episode in our 2nd season of Conversations Beyond Borders. Last week, we talked about hearing our voice. And this week, we're going to continue a bit with that, but we're going to go beyond that. And what I mean is, it's about trusting it. It's because once I think we start listening to ourselves, another quiet shift often follows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've noticed, but how much time I've spent explaining myself, explaining why I'm tired, why I'm saying no, why I've changed my mind, why I'm leaving early, why you're choosing differently than you used to. Not because anyone else is keeping score, but I don't know about you, but sometimes I believe that I actually need a narrator. So this episode's not about boundaries. It's really about something even quieter. It's the freedom of letting a choice simply be a choice, without apologies, without the justification, and without turning it into a production.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't it?
So today we are going to be looking into a concept that might be unfamiliar to some of our listeners. The concept is essentially, I'm no longer turning this into a production, or more specifically, what if my choices don't need a full explanation? Let's take this idea and look at it a couple different ways. First, let's look at a habit we may not have realized we have. Many of us don't realize how often we explain ourselves because it's become part of our personality.
True.
Until one day we overhear ourselves doing it. Susan, do you believe that's true for you?
Well, I would say that's true for me. I think I've been guilty of feeling like I have to explain what I can't do. I can't do something for someone long before someone may even have asked for the explanation. I think it's programmed in me. It's probably because, maybe I've never wanted to disappoint a friend, or perhaps the guilt has me showing up for everyone but myself. Sometimes we explain simply because we expect disagreement. Lord, can you think of any other habits that we might have?
Well, sometimes I think we don't just answer, but we feel like we have to build a case.
Yeah, true.
Right? So it's
Bring
like
down the what do they say?
the gavel?
The gavel.
The gavel. Well, it's like there's certain people that when you want to do something or you don't want to do something, you have in your life these people that you feel like you have to present your evidence like you're going to court, like you said. You've got to bring down that gavel. And you should really be okay with just saying, I'm done. I've had a busy week. Or if you've committed to something already.
Yeah, no.
Or
I
if you have a child that needs you.
Oh boy, that one hits home for me. Even if I already have something planned, or honestly, even if I just wanted the evening to myself, I still find myself reaching, what can I do? What can I do for everyone else? I don't think that women are trying to be dishonest.
Mm-mm.
I think we're just trying to be understandable.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to know we're still kind and dependable and still caring. So instead of simply answering, like you say, we just start building evidence that our decision is justified. Those little words like, I only, or I'm probably overthinking. Those little phrases shrink perfectly reasonable decisions. I know, Laura, we've talked about these habits getting ready for this episode. I think you are doing a better job at being definitive with your responses. I have some learning to do. Why do you think some of us struggle with thinking we have to provide the lengthy explanation?
I think one, we've been trained up to feel like we have to explain everything that we want to do. We were not raised with the idea that it's just okay to say no.
Right. Or not to
especially-
have all the answers.
Exactly. Especially as women.
Do you think that people would say that there's a lot of us that might feel safer? It might be easier
For sure. There's, definitely safer. Not everybody's comfortable with conflict. That's the other thing I think that we're raised to believe, or at least I was raised to believe, that conflict is bad. I can't even pinpoint where that comes from. It wasn't like it was obvious or it was a discussion, or maybe it was just because whenever I saw conflict, it was always in a negative, whether it was in a movie, TV show, between parents or parents' friends or whatever, or even between
Right.
my own friends as I was growing up.
Yeah.
But it really was once I started getting into the working world and I was with a group of people and we were working through a process and there was conflict about it. And it was like, wait a minute. I think it should be this way. You think it should be this way. We're
Right.
sitting here, we're showing each other why we think it should be this way or the other. And instead of it being a negative, it ended up being this amazing positive experience
Well, wow.
where,
Of
right?
hearing
Where,
each other, right?
oh, exactly, exactly. So we were listening to each other and we were learning, and then we each learned a different way to do the thing.
Right. Right.
So it
And I
doesn't
think
have to be about one person being right and the other one being wrong. It's just
right.
being open to listening to another opinion and another viewpoint.
Yeah. I think that that comes down to sometimes there is context to what in order to be considerate,
Hmm.
in order to be able to hear, you're right. The other person who might be presenting something, and in that light, all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, you're right. I might not necessarily be wrong, but I now have new information that I might be able to make a better informed decision. Why does
Hmm.
it have to be conflict?
Exactly.
Um, I think I just have to be careful because I have to, am I sharing because I generally want to,
Hmm.
or because I feel my decision won't be accepted without enough evidence?
Hmm.
That there's
Hmm.
something to think about for sure. Let's move on to the next layer of this discussion and why we feel that our choices must come with a full explanation.
Think about this. What if we learned how to give ourselves permission to be okay with not over explaining and instead just believing we're allowed to just do and be? So,
I love
thinking
that.
about that concept, Susan, are you okay with saying things like, I'm staying home tonight, and then just
Mm,
stopping?
right.
No explanation, no excuse, no apology, just I'm staying home.
Nothing like putting me on the spot, Laura. I'd say early in my marriage and my family life, I definitely felt like I was the peacekeeper. I don't know that I realized it then, but I thought, a good woman explained herself, a
Hmm.
good wife explained herself,
Hmm.
a good mother explained herself. So I think every decision came with a little speech, hoping everyone would understand and get what they needed. And that basically, I think that has my warped my feeling about, yes, listening to my own needs, and that somehow someone else's needs are more important. But, after 40 years of marriage, I think how much energy I did spend trying to prevent disappointment before it
Hmm.
even happened. And I
Hmm.
think I was explaining decisions nobody had questioned me yet. And but these days I'm learning that, my family doesn't need a detailed explanation every time I choose something that's right for me. How does that
Good.
land on you, Laura?
Oh, well, I will say, being on newly married, sort of,
Yep.
I was given an opportunity to correct some bad habits I had in my first marriage.
Right.
And in my first marriage, anything that I wanted to do or disagreed with was like going to trial, and there was a lot of explanation and bargaining and
Yeah.
stuff like that needed to be done. And so when I got back into the dating world, I made a pact with myself that I was not going to let that happen again. And
Right.
so I had to get brave because it did feel very uncomfortable at first.
Right. Right.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
uncomfortable, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my husband Greg, I mean, he's great. He's great. There's even times, every once in a while, I'll still go into this long, and he'll just look at me and shake his head, and he'll say, "You
Yeah.
don't need to explain yourself. And I just
Right.
look at him and go, thank you.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard having permission to make our own decisions when yeah, even when, years ago, I can remember trying to get out of things that we didn't wanna do as a couple, but for some reason, I always had to provide the excuses how to get out of it, like, "I don't think we're going to make it," or "We're keeping Christmas small this year,"
There you
or
go.
"I don't really feel like traveling." None of those sentences are rude, but I
No.
have to admit, there is this responsibility for making everyone okay with them.
Yeah.
Why why is this?
I think part of it is, again, women are just raised so differently.
Yeah,
At least I feel for our generation. We're praised for being consistent and loyal and dependable. And heaven forbid that we put ourselves first
right.
and hope that the other person understands and will give us some grace and say, "Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I get tired too.
Yeah. Right.
I
Right.
understand if you need a break. It's okay." That's what we hope for, right? But
Right.
I just think it's the programming and not, and we don't want somebody to feel bad. We want them to be able to depend on us and feel that they can depend on us. And
Right.
you
Right.
know
I agree.
any deviation from constantly being available gives that feeling that, or at least for me, I could see where that would give the feeling of they're not going to think I'm dependable anymore.
Yeah. No, I agree. I
Susan,
absolutely
do you think a simpler life can mean a fuller one?
well, we've had debate about this question, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
First, we must define simpler, and
Yes.
then we must define fuller.
Yes.
They don't necessarily mean smaller and bigger. I don't know. I think a simpler life can be fuller. And I think a simple life, at least to me, is is not living sort of by these standards. I think a simpler life is
Hmm.
that I get to decide sometimes in conjunction with my husband and sometimes with my children, but I really get to decide on a daily basis how I want to spend my time and what I want my day to look like.
Hmm.
And that would have been a real privilege back, in the day when, our kids were young. We didn't have those privileges. It
No.
was time to be super mom, and for me, a fuller life would be having those decisions freely made
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
decide if I wanna travel or if I
Yeah.
wanna spend time with the grandkids. It's not having to explain to someone the whys
Hmm.
and the hows and I think when I'm 65 in October, just tried to apply for Medicare,
Jeez.
last week. I think when you get at least for me, when you get in your 60s, there is a pause about how much time you have left, and I
Hmm.
don't wanna spend the rest of my life being the PTO president that I did
Hmm.
when I was young.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I wanna savor the time. I wanna as I was telling you, I wanna slow down the time. I
Hmm.
don't know if you feel the same way, Laura.
Oh my
How
God.
how can you explain a full life that you would want? And I
Oh.
know you really struggle with moving on to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing.
No, I do.
But
I do. And for me, I guess I just really need to take a pause and just
Mhm.
sit and think about what truly a simpler life could look like. Because to me, quite honestly, I think of simple and I think of boring. I
Yeah.
think of not doing anything. I think of not going anywhere. I think of, after dinner, you clean up the kitchen, you turn on the TV, and then you do nothing the rest of the day. I want to see things, and I'm getting close to 60. I mean, I'm not 60 yet, but I also do see that my children are getting older and my granddaughter's getting older, and
Yeah. Yeah.
there's memories I want to make and there's things I want to do. And
Right.
so for me, the fullness, I haven't figured out how simple and full can work together. I want to do the things, I want to
Yeah.
plan the weekend trips. But there's times that, I really need to stay home on the weekend and just scrub my
Rub in the
shower and
shadow.
and do my laundry.
No, I agree. I agree. I'm not looking for, boredom either. I'm looking for choices, and I think you're right. I think peace often feels a little suspicious because we have spent decades managing schedules and expectations and family dynamics and everyone else's emotional weather. Peace could feel a little uncomfortable, and I think that's what I hear in you.
Yeah,
You're asking, shouldn't I be doing more, helping
right.
more, like hosting more, explaining more? But the stillness that we have spoken in the last couple of episodes is a part of that fullness. I don't
Mhm.
think peace and stillness to be boredom.
Right, I don't disagree. It's just I'm trying to figure out how to reconcile that in my brain because I could definitely use more peace and stillness. I mean, God
Sure,
knows.
sure, sure. Yeah. Well, I think for the last several chapters, that's what I think that is owed to us
Mhm.
after being so selfless and being so driven in the many roles that we provided for in our family. And I just, yeah. Do you think, do you think then that i- is there a fear underneath all of this? Is there just being able to say no? Just being able to tell someone, as you were speaking of, that maybe I'm not the person to depend on today. Maybe there's some fear in will they be disappointed, or will they think I've changed? Will they think I'm selfish?
Well, I would say for me, not anymore. I I would say when I was in my first marriage, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
had societal expectations, familial
Uh-huh.
expectations, all
Yes,
sorts
yes,
of expectations put on me. And
yeah.
now, no, I've become, but I will say it was
You're
hard.
clear about what you want,
Yes, it's like, you know what?
obviously.
And I'm okay with saying my compromise has become, you know what? I would love to, but that doesn't work for me. I could be available at this time or this day,
Right,
but that doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. And
right,
that's it. You know.
right.
But I will say it was very uncomfortable at first, even
Yep.
within a new dynamic, no matter where I was. Because, even if it's a new social group, a new familial group, a new
Mhm.
state with different, societal expectations in, because the area is so much different. But
Yeah,
it was still uncomfortable because it was so much of my life,
yeah.
giving, reasons and feeling like I had to explain myself.
Well, and again, as we were getting ready for this, you said something that really connected with me, and that is taking the opportunity to be brave,
Yeah.
to sit in that uncomfortable position and realize that it's not that it gets easier, but
Mm-mm.
it becomes a different mindset and it becomes a different way of looking at things. And I think, I really value that conversation with you because I've intentionally in these last couple of weeks, tried to put this in practice, and I think I'm just finally believing that that, yeah, I should give myself permission and that it's okay to give myself permission and not to carry the guilt. It's one thing to
Mhm.
say it, the other not to feel the guilt. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think sometimes we're not patient with ourselves. We've lived one way for decades. We've explained our choices. We've softened our opinions. We've
Mhm.
tried to keep everyone comfortable. Those habits don't disappear overnight, but I think you're absolutely right about one small step,
Mhm.
one tiny speck of courage that says that, yeah, it's your time and it's okay to take it that way.
No, for sure. I mean, like I said, it feels awkward, and anytime you do something new, it's going to feel clunky. It's not going to be eloquent and
Right.
smooth. It's going to be clunky and feel weird, and it's going to feel icky
Right.
at first. But when you get that courage and you put yourself out there and you start creating this space where you have your time is your time and it's
Yeah.
okay without explanation, and you see how other people react to that. Now whatever narrative you had going on up in your head about whether they're going to not trust you or think less of you, now you have new evidence. And I believe that any time you go into any area of your life where you're changing something about how you react to something, it's so important just to get the courage to start taking those steps, because you really need that evidence as feedback to be
Yeah.
able to solidify these new, maybe healthier habits.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's move into the final section that we wanted to talk about. And this, I think, is mostly for our listeners to think about, right, Laura?
Right, right. This is where we want you to be curious.
Right.
So sit in this just a little bit and listen to these and notice how different these sentences might feel to you. So next time somebody wants you to do something and you don't want to, think about, this works better for me, or I'm not available, or I've decided not to.
Ooh.
Or I know, right? I've decided not to. That would be a tough one for me. Only because if I've decided not to, that means I already decided to, and now I'm going back.
Yeah.
So that one, I would
You're
have to say
still
that.
worrying about what people think.
I know. That one, I'm good to just tell people no out of the gate. But if I
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
yes, then that one would be hard. Or think about, I'm choosing something quieter,
Yeah.
or I've changed my mind.
Who can argue with that?
Right? Well, exactly. Well, there's people out there. We all know them. There's people out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just really consider no speeches. You don't need to provide any supporting documents.
Yep.
Just, these statements calm and honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think the other key is to realize that not everyone is going to understand. But
Mm-mm.
one of the biggest freedoms of midlife that I'm starting to understand is that their understanding isn't actually required, that people
Right.
are allowed to wish you made a different choice, but that doesn't automatically make my choice wrong.
No, exactly, exactly. Going back to, we've been taught that consistency is a virtue, and
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to bring up was something I learned in reading Maya Angelou's series of autobiographies. She said something about, I think it was her grandmother had told her, it's okay to look down the path that you're going and look down the path that you've come up, and if you don't like the direction you're headed, it is absolutely okay to cut yourself a new path. And I read that book in my mid 30s. I think we'd actually just moved to Colorado. Um, I read that book in my mid 30s, and that has really stuck with me. It really gives us permission, um, to be able to change when we need to.
Yeah, change your mind. I have
That's
different
right.
friendships, different routines, different priorities. You're right. Changing isn't inconsistency.
Mm-mm.
It's the evidence that life keeps shaping us,
Right.
right? And
Right.
just imagine, that less emotional labor for one, that, those explanations that require all the energy and the justifications that ask us to carry someone else's possible reaction. Imagine how much lighter life feels when you stop rehearsing those conversations before they happen.
Oh, for sure, for sure. The quiet confidence that there's
Yeah,
something incredibly peaceful about saying, "This is what I'm choosing," and just allowing that to be. Not because you don't care, but
right,
because you've learned that your choices don't become more legitimate, after a lengthy explanation.
right, right, right. I shall put that on my mirror. So, our final thought we want you to think about is maybe one of the quiet signs of growing older isn't about becoming louder. Maybe it's becoming calmer, not rushing to fill every silence, not trying to convince everyone, not needing applause for ordinary decisions, just quietly trusting yourself.
So the next time you catch yourself building a long explanation up in your head for how you're going to tell the person no, pause for a second and ask yourself, am I sharing because I want to, or because I think I have to earn the right to make this choice?
Mm.
You actually might discover that your decision was already enough.
Amen, sister. So maybe the switch isn't that we stop caring what people think. Maybe it's that we stop making every honest choice pass through a committee first. And maybe that's the one of the most peaceful freedoms midlife has to offer.
There you go.
So that's our conversation today.
And we're so glad that you're a part of it. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite listening platform. And remember, you can find us on all the social medias. And you can please come to Facebook and join our private Facebook group at Conversations Beyond Borders with you.
Right. So until
Until
next
next
time,
time, take
take
good care of
care of
yourself
yourself
and
and
each
each
other.
other. See you next week.